So Keith Olbermann is a complete weirdo who loves throwing unhinged temper tantrums. He has been known to do it for over a decade now, and he gets dunked on by both the left and the right quite a lot. This time, he's got himself in some hot water for tweeting something pretty despicable the other day. So we've got these Los Angeles wildfires going on, and apparently James Woods' house was caught in the fire. James Woods is a right-wing actor, a guy who's very sympathetic to Trump, and a Twitter account, someone named Karen Piper, wrote, "James Woods' house is burning down. It's karma calling." So yeah, not a good thing to write, not something decent whatsoever. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. He's not a politician who's ruined people's lives or anything. It's just totally unacceptable to write this about someone who's a supporter of Trump just because they support Trump. So Angela Belcamino, who's a liberal ex-user, pretty prominent, gets made fun of by the right a lot, actually called Karen Piper out and said, "I'm not a fan of James Woods at all, but being happy his house is burnt down isn't the answer. Be better." Yeah, that's a good point. That's a pretty reasonable thing to say. And you can be as far left as possible and still believe that. But some people disagree. Keith Olbermann replied in the comments saying, "This is the attitude that lost the election. They will not compromise. They will not convert. They will not be human. They must be defeated, and any chance to bruise or batter them psychologically must be exploited." That was my impression of his voice. To be honest, I haven't actually heard Keith Olbermann in quite a while, so it might have been rusty. But yeah, he's got a very deep voice, and he just sounds like a total chud when he talks. But yeah, he's insufferable, and he's totally wrong here. This is the attitude that lost the election, the attitude that we shouldn't wish for political opponents' houses to burn down. Are you out of your mind, you complete psychopath? Like, there's not even an attitude being expressed here, really. It's just saying, okay, don't be a total psychopath. That's not really an attitude. It's not about policy or anything. And policy is what Americans care about. So he's wrong on that. He's, of course, wrong to say that political opponents are not human. And look, I've covered all of Trump's dehumanizing rhetoric, or a lot of it. I can't cover everything a politician says, but I've covered it. I've called it out vociferously. And I can't just ignore stuff that people on the left, people on the Democratic side say as well. They say lots of it. They do. It just so happens that one party, the right, says more of it, and one party, one side, is taking power starting in January 2025. So I focus most of it on the right. But we have to call out people on the left who act like complete psychopaths like this. This is completely unacceptable, saying that they're not human. They will not be human. I mean, I don't know totally what he means, but he's basically saying that as it stands, they're not humans. But I don't know if he's saying they won't decide to act human, or we cannot humanize them. We cannot see them as being human. Either way, he's totally wrong. He's horrific, and I hope this got ratioed to oblivion. It looks like it did. But good job, X, for once. They must be defeated. Of course, people on the other side of the political aisle must be defeated, but not through burning their house down, not through making them suffer physically in any way. At the ballot box, as Joe Biden said, the battle box. You know, this is just unacceptable. And it's a horrible look for people on the left, horrible look for Democrats. And to be fair, of course, Keith Olbermann is not looked at as the head of the Democratic Party or one of the heads of it. He's just a well-known psychopath who is known also as being a Democrat and being a pretty hardcore partisan, and a guy who throws temper tantrums about Trump and Republicans all the time. They will not convert. Well, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them will not convert. That's what he says, and he's right about that, but he's wrong to say that because of that, they will not be human. Look, some people are unmovable. They're in a cult. I will grant that. They're in a Trump cult. But that doesn't mean that violence against them is ever acceptable. For crying out loud. I mean, at least not offensive violence. You can act in self-defense, and that's about it. Wishing for someone to suffer, having their house burnt down, wanting to have them psychologically battered, it's so wrong. And it's such a villainous thing to say. Can you imagine typing that out? Any chance to bruise or batter them psychologically must be exploited. What on earth is wrong with you, you freak? I mean, it's like he's straight up like trying to sound like Adolf Hitler or something. I don't know if Hitler ever said that, but yeah, This is just pure toxic. So yeah, if you're wondering why I'm covering this, it's, as I said, we need to call out people regardless of their political views when they say horrendous things. And anti-Trump people can be completely deranged too. Look, I would admit that Trump derangement syndrome sometimes does exist. It's becoming more and more understandable to be against Trump as time goes on. But yeah, there are some people who are so psychopathic that they just see all of his supporters as subhuman. Look, man, we got to reach out better. We got to reach out better. We got to do better than this. And if any politician, any Democratic politician sees this tweet and is thinking, well, I think we should be like this. We should be like Keith Olbermann and take any chance we can to psychologically batter Trump supporters. Think again. Do not go down that route. I also don't want them going down the route of capitulating to Trump, but for crying out loud, we can't go so extreme in the other direction that we're demonizing voters, saying they're not human, laughing at their houses being burnt down. No, no, no. There is a middle ground. The middle ground is resist confidently and peacefully. Resist fervently, but without acting deranged. That middle ground needs to be taken. And not too many people seem to be going down that middle road. Not too many people. Keith Olbermann on one side is like burn their house down, psychologically batter them, and a lot of these establishment Democrats are like, well, let's work with Trump. I'm really excited, and if you don't work with Trump and you want him to fail, then you want America to fail. Tough times. Yeah. Well, if you want to join me in the middle ground, please subscribe to the channel, like or comment. What do you think of Keith Olbermann? Do you think he's a deranged lunatic? Because I sure do. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.